Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. Continuing the exploration, as was bound to happen, of the blockage between my solar plexus chakra and my heart chakra. These cards are representing some of the, I don't even know whether to call them power animals, because to me they're not quite power animals, maybe guardian animals, spirit things, associated with my chakras. And this is the solar plexus is horse and the heart is frog. So when I do this, which I realized I haven't done in ages, what I've been doing mostly is just bringing energy up from the earth, which ends up being lava, and then actually I start out with just sort of releasing out the root chakra, and then I bring up the lower energy and try to get it to fill as much as it will, and then I go to the upper light energy and I bring the light energy down. And I haven't been doing that very often either, but I've been doing that instead of doing specific chakra check-ins. And it was interesting because when I did that check-in, usually when I do it, an animal will appear in the chakra. If I'm just like holding my attention on that area of my body, an animal will show up. I had vacancies. I had vacancies in everything to start with. I had vacancies in everything but my solar plexus chakra and my heart chakra. And the heart chakra was a little bit hard to even kind of locate, but frog has been in there in the past and it remains in there, at least to start, it remained in there. So part of the reason I was cued to do this, I mean, certainly I had the experience with the blockage that was baffling, but at this point, this juncture in my life, that, you know, when something gets complicated, I'm likely to say, all right, well, I'm going to have to put that off until I'm feeling better, I have more resources, I have my crap together, I'll come back to this, this thing I don't understand. But I was writing down all of the animals that have come to me for various reasons as helpers. And horse was kind of kicking up a storm. Like, it's kind of like, why, there were no words exchanged, but it was kind of like, I was in your solar plexus chakra. Why didn't you? You know, or I have been in your solar plexus chakra. And there was even a time in the past where a horse sort of fought its way out of the sacral chakra, which is where it had been for quite some time, into the solar plexus chakra. And so it was like, why didn't you call on me? Because I have these hooves for a reason. I can kick down this barrier. Anyway, so I thought, all right, well, clearly I need to do some solar plexus. I'll do my chakra stuff. And so again, I start at the root chakra, and like, nobody's home, nobody's there. Sacral chakra, nobody's home, nobody's there. And then in the sacral chakra, there was horse immediately kicking the wall down. And in the heart chakra, there, you know, there was kind of there was the frog, and it is like a little tree frog like this, just hanging out there. And nothing in the throat, the third eye, or the crown. All vacancies, lots of chakra vacancies. So I didn't concern myself terribly with that. I thought, well, these two are the issue, the connection between these two, the barrier between these two is the issue. But I thought, all right, well, I'm going to bring up Did I do that then, or did I think I did. I can't remember even if I might have started with this. You know, there was a point at which I was like, well, is the blockage still there? Or what is the condition of the blockage or whatever? And so, because it usually becomes evident by, you know, when I bring up the lava energy, that it is kind of stopped at the solar plexus. And the light energy has difficulty going past the heart. So, so I was going to bring up the lava energy, and it was like, no, that's not what we're doing now. That's not what we're going to do. It's going to be water, and it's going to be a cave. And so it's like my body was a hollow that was filling or had water up to actually the throat chakra. It didn't go any further than the throat chakra. It's like it was pretty broad here, and then it narrowed here, and then there was no access above that. And it was like a sea cave where water was coming in from this larger source, and it was on a horizontal, and you know, the waves were just sort of lapping their way in. So that's what I had. I didn't have the usual thing. And I think then I might have had, so there was a sense that the horse in the sacral chakra had knocked down the wall. And so there was a point at which I was seeing if there was any difference in this watery area. There wasn't. To me, this watery area, this watery cave area, was kind of bypassing the problem. You know, it was kind of underneath it, so to speak. And actually, that we did start with that. Actually, I did start with that, and or maybe it was the second thing. Maybe the horse was knocking down the wall, and then or the barrier, such as it was, and then I went back under here. And if you looked upward, I could see over the heart chakra that it was red, that it was, you know, red and glowing. Every place else looked like limestone, like a cave, you know. And I don't know if I, you know, and then you just sort of focus your attention on that area. And there's the little tree frog. And see, this is where I fail, is I end up being kind of passive. It's like the horse actively was saying, let me do this, you know, as opposed to, I saw the little frog, you know, and I think I have a real world bias of, well, you know, what could a frog do? You know, there's frog energy, which I don't usually think of this fertility and new beginnings. I think of it as cleansing. You know, a lot of times it's cleansing. So I don't think to like ask the frog to heal the heart or what's wrong with the heart. So I don't engage in conversations that should probably be had with these animals, these power animals, spirit animals, guardian animals, guardian spirit animals, whatever you want to call them. So there was the little frog, but it was obvious, you know, I could, when I focused on that, where I saw that red glow, you know, I felt emotional. I was feeling emotional. And then what happened was a light being, which I have never had. Light energy will come down. I've sometimes called it the glistening goo. Sometimes it would be like a really bright white waterfall that would come down, that kind of cleansing activity going on. Sometimes I would often, sometimes with a dove, but often with a mountain goat, um, would take me up to that upper world, the area of white light. And sometimes I would have a sense of beings there, like glowing beings, you know, that had the rough figure of a person, but, you know, soft edged, so you couldn't, there were no real defining features. Um, I mean, I first remember when I was encountered theta healing, and in theta healing, you're supposed to go up to the white light and enter through like curtains or layers, and then you go in, and then there's nothing in there. It's just white. And I remember that. I don't know if it was maybe maybe the second time that I did that. And there were things coming at me, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this was not part of the bargain. Um, uh, so this time was the little frog in the heart chakra, and there was a light being that looked sort of elfish, you know, that kind of level of elegance or whatever, and had more defined features. Wasn't so like soft edged and glowy. Um, Came down. I was feeling some concern about the frog for whatever was going to go on. And the light person picked up the little frog and put it on. It was a her. I was perceiving it as a her on her shoulder. And then she kind of cupped that area, you know, so she was doing her own Reiki on the heart chakra area. And again, it made me very emotional, and it reminded me of how when I explained the recent situation where the lava mama, there was the black stone, or I was supposed to go up to the white light area and lay on a table where I was going to be fixed, so to speak, and I resisted that, and the lava mama had to grab the black stone and put it up there, and all of that nonsense. And when that stone was taken and put up there, how I felt a sense of loss. And so I was reminded of that loss. It's like the loss that whatever it was, that intrusion was, had been lifted out and transformed, but the sense of loss had not been purged. And I don't know that it is purged because I ran into something else too. But that was clearly, you know, it was clearly a healing intention, and had a healing effect in that I don't know how I even sensed that it was over. Maybe the frog was put back down and there was a little pool in a meadow. So there's a pool in a meadow and there was a fawn. Actually, and so I took out fawn here also. So there was the pool in the meadow, and then the deer appeared, and then the frog was put down into the pond, and then the light being was no longer there. So that was lovely. And so then I decided to see if I could get some animals back in my chakras. And again, I need to not be so passive in the sense of when an animal shows up, I need to have a dialogue. I need to go there, and I haven't been. And I didn't this time because of something that happened that made me cut it off, which is coming up before long. But so when I do this. I kind of just hold my attention, and so I held my attention in the root chakra, and a bonobo showed up. And I looked through my various animal decks. I didn't have a bonobo. I thought I did, but if I did, I don't anymore. I couldn't find a bonobo. So the root chakra was a bonobo. I think that's the first time I've had a primate show up. Well, maybe not, but I think, yeah, I think in chakras, first time. And then the sacral chakra was a swordfish. And so again, we have with the sea cave, we had this kind of marine theme sort of going on there. So that was a swordfish. And then horse solar plexus, the frog and deer there in the heart, in their lovely little meadow with a pond, very peaceful. And then the throat chakra was a walrus. I mean, I get some interesting things in my throat chakra. So, and again, there was that feeling of that's where the cave was, and the end of the watery cave, and a walrus came up. My third eye is a tree, and that's the first time I've had a tree show up, and it's the second time I've had tree energy show up within like a month or 6 weeks. So a palm tree showed up in my third eye, and I have in my tree oracle, I have a date palm, but I don't know that that's it. I think it's more like a Caribbean, whatever we would have in the Caribbean, because what happened was I was focusing on my third eye, and what I was getting was like a wet, windy storm, a wet, windy storm. And I'm thinking, well, what animal is going to be in a wet, windy storm? And there was no animal, but I was shown a palm tree. And so I just saw this palm tree in the storm. So that was super interesting and perplexing. And then there was also, again, when I focused on the crown chakra, there was again this sense of a strong, strong wind, and a strong wind on a snowy mountain peak. And it was like, so is there any animal there? And there still was the mountain goat, but the mountain goat was laying down, and it was largely obscured by snow. It was kind of buried in the snow, but it was in there. And that also was really strange and interesting. I'm not used to getting a super strong sense of environment until there's an animal. And this time it was the opposite. Even with like the swordfish, I was getting the ocean before I saw what it was that was in the ocean. And here it just settled at the cave, and I was waiting for something to come out of the water because it was just showing kind of the end of that cave with the water lapping up, and there's, was a rock bench there, and we're just kind of waiting for what was going to come out and be there. Anyway, I was just waiting. So that was cool. And then I just, it was certainly giving me a lot to think about. And for some reason, I thought to check in again with the heart. Oh, I know what it was. I just decided, all right, so there we go. As these animals were showing up, I actually was taking a minute and I was writing them down. And I was feeling, toward the end of doing this, I was feeling a little sleepy. I thought, all right, well, I'll nap a little bit. It's a Sunday. When I'm doing this, it's a Sunday. And so I rolled over onto my side and, was just sort of surveying, again, my, just my torso, my body. And I sort of settled here with a view of that meadow, and something came down and just, I didn't see like it being crushed quite, but I saw something solid, like that was stomping on it, that just, and I'm like, ugh, and that made me feel emotional again, but it also made me feel defensive. It's like, well, what the hell was that? It's like when I've got spirit dinosaurs now that are going to come in and crush, like it's something, it wasn't a foot of a giant. It was more like the foot of an elephant or something. But I don't believe that it was an elephant or spirit animal because they wouldn't behave like that. But it was that kind of something stomping on it with a cylindrical kind of foot just stomping on it. And that's why I'm like, do I have dinosaurs or something? So in a way, it comes back to, and I don't know that the barrier between these two things won't regenerate again. It could very well regenerate. Because I wasn't doing the things that previously had indicated that there's a problem. So, I will eventually, probably not today, but I will eventually try that again with bringing the lava up and bringing the white light down and seeing how if things have cleared there, or if there still seems to be these stoppages. But in any case, I think what has become fairly clear today is the heart chakra is where the issue is. And so I need to be asking for more help there. And to check in there, and protection. I mean, that's another thing that's like, if after doing this and then there's this crushing thing, this thing that felt like it was from out of, like outside, coming in and crushing, then it's like, it's a matter of protection. Somehow I'm not protecting myself. I'm not protecting the little meadow and pond of my heart. And I'm not at all clear on how to amend that. Will, as sometimes people will do, and maybe that's what I need to do before I start sitting down to do the chakra work, or sitting down to do the lava and white light work, the kind of cleansing, clearing, fortifying, that does tend to stay in kind of that column of my torso, of my physical body. And I'm not, like before I do that, I'm not creating a shell or bubble of white light. I'm not doing that. I'm not first imagining, I'm not first doing that rose meditation, Eileen. So I'm not, because I guess I have this assumption that my strength and protection comes from within and goes outward. So that's definitely, especially somebody raised outside of religion and raised kind of with the belief, that we do have personal power. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but maybe there needed to also be um, that sense of additional protection beyond, say, the protection of the family, or the protection of neighbors, or those kinds of, which I feel like um, I was lucky enough to have. Um, so yeah, apparently I need to think more about spiritual protection and making it part of my routine to create or ask for that protection before I start doing chakra work or whatnot. So under the frog and the deer, I have meerkats. Because at some point in relation, and I think it was like briefly, like right before, or maybe it was right after, but in relation to that stomping of the heart, there was a sense of meerkats popping their heads up, of all things, like rubbernecking on my crushed heart. um, and it's interesting too because I don't think that I've ever had like multiple spirit animals in one chakra. So I'm hoping this will, and again, being more conscientious, I think I'm starting to realize how many notebooks I need. It's like I need, and how I need to separate out power/spirit animals, whatever. It's like I need to have a notebook or a list that is just animals that have shown up for chakras, my chakra animals, and what chakras they've shown up. I feel like I need to start tracking this stuff and understanding it and engaging with it more. Um, and with 3 showing up here in the heart chakra, certainly that means that I need to go sit by the pond, because even though there was that bang, that crushing thing, I believe the pond is still in there. I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but it could still be in there. And uh, certainly my heart chakra is still there in any case. So go in there and reside and converse and treat it as a place that needs to be sat in for a while and understood better and protection created somehow. Um, and who knows, maybe that blockage that was between the solar plexus and the heart, maybe that was some misinformed type of protection for the upper chakras. I don't know. I've never had an experience where that wall was built. I just experienced that it was there, that the flow was not there anymore. That there, when energy would try to come up, it wouldn't. That this was a space. There was a divider. There was a boundary there of some kind that didn't seem like it should be there. So yes, bears further attention. Bears further attention, and I am going to start tracking this sort of thing and doing more journaling around it. And kind of trying to distinguish what's what. You know, what are these? What are these animals? What are they here for? What do they have to say? Why do some seem to kind of disappear? Is it because I'm not paying attention? Could be. Do any of them want to come back? Could I do an exit interview? Can I do, in the throat chakra, could I do an exit interview with the snow leopard that I used to have there? So if anybody has suggestions for that sort of protection, white light, certainly I've got some quartz that I could lay around me when I do these things. Much as I love rocks, I'm just sort of not inclined to do that. But I could give it some thought. And again, if you have suggestions, I don't know what suggestion will work. I don't do very well with the creating the bubble around me. I have at times, and I could do this. I could see doing this. So one of the reasons I've thought about distinguishing between the animals that are showing up in my chakra and my quote unquote power animals is because the power animals do feel different. They're larger, and whereas these are kind of inhabiting or staying in that area. Of course, the power animals are more free flowing or free ranging. But I could see asking power animals to come and surround me while I do the work. Maybe I could do both of those things. Maybe I could do the light or who knows what. So kind of get more interaction going on between these various things. Again, feel free to add your own suggestions. I probably, since protection seems to be an issue for me with, if you've watched these, you will have heard me talk about it. There's the spirit attachments that I feel like I've been prone to, and then this sort of really invasive, pounding on the heart chakra. Then I probably need to have more of a daily ritual, even if I'm not doing the chakra or doing the lava stuff or whatever. I probably need some daily ritual of protection. And I don't know if that would involve the power animals necessarily, like asking them to be present and around me and to protect whatever's going on. That might be more energy work. And I don't know. I just don't know. Mysteries remain. So yes, again, feel free to provide suggestions. And I've rambled long enough. I'm letting it go. Take care, everyone, and thanks for stopping by and listening to my crazy shamanic energy work strangeness. All right, bye-bye.